What's going on, guys? Joe Deckelmeyer here with Screen Rant. I am with the cast and creators of SYFY's Revival, which is a supernatural mystery shaken up small town horror. Let's dive into season 1 and let's talk about what's to come. But first, Aaron and Luke, I want to talk to you guys real quick because you guys kept the pilot pretty close to the comic, but then started expanding the world. What was the moment you knew that you needed to expand this world and to make it its own TV show?
Yeah, that was, I think, the moment that I gave copy of the comic to Aaron. I was developing it before as a film, and we worked for years to do it, and then Aaron and I worked on Aaron produced a feature film, my feature film debut, and I was like, hey, listen, I want you to check this out and see what you think. Gave him the comic. He came to me. He was like, this first issue, this is a series, this is a pilot. So
yeah, the characters were so interesting. It felt very Fargo-esque and this like weird quirkiness that I loved. And if you really want to give characters justice, you need more time to do that. So that really felt like a TV series to me in every way. And then like Luke and I, we had our quote unquote pre-writers room, which is just him and me on Zoom talking for hours on end and putting all of these, big set pieces up on the board of like, what are the coolest moments of the comic that we knew we had to work toward, right? What were those things that, when I'm pitching someone the comic, oh, this happens and this happens, and you get excited about, and put those all up on a board and then figure out our own ways to get there. So that way people who have read the comic can have that familiarity and still find a way in, and the people, but then they also get kind of twisted up like, oh, that's not how I expected that to happen, while still kind of paying proper homage. It was a fun line to walk.
So it's something new for the fans of the comic too, to enjoy on a different level. Melanie, you've said you fell in love with Dana because of how messy and layered she is. Even her desk was a big clue in her personality. What clicked for you with the character the first time you read her?
I think anytime I see a personality, like a sense of humor, I really want to know more, just because that specifically speaks to me. I deal with a lot of things with humor, whether it's inappropriate or not. Like, that is how I process life. And so the second I saw, but I also saw like just the mess of how she lived her real life with her son, and like she can't button her shirt. Like, I think the comic was really instrumental in kind of setting that image of like not having it all together. And I love that, because I think there's no greater service to humans than to go, you're a mess, but so is this character, and you still love them.
Awesome. I want to talk about M, especially M, where we are now in episode 7, because M's Healing at Moore Creek both is a rebirth and a breakdown. Talk to me about the mix of the psychological revival and the emotional collapse that she's dealing with.
Ooh, what a beautiful way to put it. Have fun. Yeah, psychological battle and emotional. M's dealing with a lot. She's dealing with things really for the first time too, because for so long she had been numbing everything. She didn't want to deal with anything, and even if she wanted to, maybe she wasn't in the home where she could necessarily talk feelings out and cry feelings. I think that there is something new and powerful, that the emotional breakthrough is the fact that she's not weak. In fact, she's actually really strong, and she can help. She can be useful. She's been told for so long to stay away, stand down. No, you're gonna break. You're too fragile, emotionally, physically. So this physical transformation is, of course, coming from, I think, being a reviver and just learning like, oh, what used to hold me back can help me kill people. Great. But emotionally, I find that was kind of one of her weaknesses that also later turns into a superpower too, because that's where it comes from, right?
Absolutely.
The eyes. So I think that's all just really inspired through the writing too.
Incredible. I want to talk about your character real quick, Andy, because he walks the line between science and belief. How do you find that balance in scenes like the Moore Creek sequence when he sees M coming undone?
I think that's a turning point, and I think that same sort of scene, it is like the scene where he sees the passenger for the first time. I see a man of science, tested beyond his understanding of like what he's learned up until this point, and so we maybe start to see perhaps a man of faith or someone who is battling these beliefs. I say at the beginning, we're all very steadfast in our beliefs and where we stand, but I feel like every character, Dave and I were talking about this earlier, starts to enter that morally gray area of what perhaps they didn't understand before, and having to come to terms with that. And I think it's a lot of fun to play, and a lot of fun to be a part of, because the great writing these two gentlemen up here on the team.
Right?
Yeah.
David, your character's world was flipped upside down when he finds out that M was a reviver. Talk to me about tapping into the weight of that revelation.
But it's like he was like an alcoholic who's bottomed out, and the bottom of his whole belief system is ripped out, and he's left somewhat shattered on the ground, and he has to find a way to continue to walk forward because being left with his basest instinct, which is to protect his family. He was thrust. Every belief system he had was shattered, and so he's now walking forward with just trying to find a way through this labyrinth of pain and this unbelievable world. He's just a man who's completely left with nothing but he's a raw nerve, I think, at the end. And I don't want to give away anything, but the great thing about this show is it just keeps getting bigger and more explosive and twisting and turning, and you really don't see what's coming, and the end is pretty big and interesting and exciting.
I want to talk about that because episode 7 is kind of like a turning point in this show. There's martial law, there's cult chaos, there's family secrets. How do you map out a season like that to build towards the pressure cooker that we're leading to in the finale?
We had a lot that we wanted to do. And, the comics are 47 issues. So there was a lot there to kind of pack in at the same time, but also streamlining this just to really be about the Cypress family, right? And to really be about the murder mystery. So, we're big believers in, answering a question with a question, but at a certain point, the mystery box, the J.J. Abrams mystery box of you all, I think you have to eventually see what's in the box. I will say. So I can't say leading into the finale, we are going to give some pretty big answers that are there. And so that was always something that you want to work backwards from. Where those climaxes are going to be, the montage, quote unquote, that may or may not be toward the end of our episode. And you want to work backwards of how do we get the characters to those positions and earn that? How do we earn the emotion of those moments? And that was something that was very, very specifically constructed in that working backwards and finding those moments of 6, 8, 10 and where that all kind of breaks down.
Dana's investigation ramps up in episode 7. What is cracking the case board unlock for her emotionally?
Oh man. Well, I think so much of her inner turmoil comes from wondering if she did the right thing, and she's had to fight for so long to say no, I think I was right. I followed my instincts and I think they're right. And nobody believed her. And it's kind of well, am I crazy? But maybe I was wrong. And you start questioning yourself. And I think for Dana, it was so important to discover the truth so that she can heal that part and kind of start trusting herself again and take her power back in the sense of going no, if my spidey sense says this is right, then this is what I follow and nobody else. You looking at you, Dad.
Can the two of you talk to me about building your sisterly bond off camera? Because you guys do so much and there's so much unspoken history with just a glance between your guys' characters.
Talking about building our chemistry, I was cast it was all a very quick turnaround for me personally, and I had no idea what I was going to New Brunswick, who I was going to be with there other than the names on the email. And then I got a DM saying, "It's you and me, sis," from none other than Melanie, and I freaked out and was like, yeah, I feel really good about this. Oh. And then within 2 minutes, we just connected, and I think that I look up to Mel, and I think that Mel wants to protect me, and I think that those are two very important things in sisterhood.
You look up to me because I'm tall.
And we get it, I'm short.
And do you know how scared I was? I sent that DM, and then I was like, what if you don't, it's not official, what if?
Oh, that would have been bad.
That would have sucked for you.
That would have really been bad for me.
And also me.
That would have been awkward. Yeah. Now that we're heading towards the end of season 1, what can you tease about where the show's going, what we can expect next, especially for a show that's still building out its world?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of surprises in store still. I don't think people are fully prepared for where we're going to go. And we're excited about Next week is a pretty much a flashback episode, a departure episode. So it's going to really explore the Blackbeard case, and just, how that kind of played out and what that means to Dana and to the whole family. So we're excited about that. We're excited about 9 and 10 are crazy, and I think people are gonna love it.
Yeah, they're so fast paced. Like I think we thought about all this with the audience in mind, and we're like, well, what is I'm gonna feel like, for the reason, for example, Aaron in episode 4 is shot, right, and he dies. So that was something where I'm just gonna feel like Aaron's gonna be. I believe this guy's her killer, maybe, or he's part of this, at least part of the plan from the get go. So I have to give the audience something early. Otherwise, I'll be frustrated if I wait 10 episodes to hear that. So it's like, what can we give the audience by still pulling back and asking new questions while giving other ones? So it was really fun to kind of do that. And then episode 8 is a flashback episode that also allows us to understand things that have come before it. So it's going to recontextualize scenes that you didn't realize had an entire other meaning, and other things that were going on, and characters' relationships that you had no idea were intersecting, but that will give us the context of that to then understand how it ties back into M's murder and our A story and what happened with Revival Day, because they're all centrally linked, and that was a fun thing to kind of lay out.
That's amazing. Melanie, I can't let you go without asking you about Wynonna Earp. Any updates on anything new?
No.
And also, another thing too that I'm absolutely a huge fan of, I just really discovered, was Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. Captain Patel is amazing. What's going on with the Gorn and the DNA twist?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
It's no big deal.
I mean, it seems like a big deal.
Everybody has a different way of getting pregnant, and that was hers. And it's only weird if you say it's weird. But otherwise, hey, happy Mother's Day, Captain Patel.
Happy Mother's Day, Captain Patel. Yes, that's going to be a hashtag for Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. I love it. Look, thank you guys so much for stopping by. It's been an honor talking to you guys. Revival's fantastic. SYFY channel, check it out. Amazing job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm fine.
Okay. Because your big sister has a taser and a gun. And a low moral bar.